Aloha! In this video, I'm going to show you how to find the Hawaii Administrative Rules online. You need to go to this website, hawaii.gov. When you type it in, it will actually change to something like portal.ehawaii.gov, but you don't have to memorize that. Just memorize hawaii.gov. Now the website may be different when you go to it, because I think they've got it set so that depending on what time of day it is, the look is different. You know, during the day, it's a full daylight look. I'm recording this at night, so they have a sunset look. So don't be alarmed if it looks a little different when you get to this site. Now, on the home page, there's a link right here for government, and if you hover your cursor over it, you'll see there's a link to elected officials. Oddly enough, I'm not having you go to state departments and agencies because I want to show you where online you can find all of the HAR at once. So to do that, we have to go down to the Lieutenant Governor's office because by statute, the Lieutenant Governor is required to make available copies of all administrative rules to the public. So we're going to click here on elected officials. And then once we get to elected officials, we're going to click on the picture, and it's a little hard to see here. But there's a picture of the Lieutenant Governor, Brian Schatz, and you click on his link right there. Once you do and you come to his website, you'll see that there are some light gray text links here. And you're going to want to go to the one that says About the Office. And when you get to that drop down, the first item is going to be Administrative Rules. Click on that. Once you're here, you will see that there are links to all of the Hawaii Administrative Rules, or the HARs, in the state. That's why I had you do this little song and dance. Otherwise, you have to go to each department's website and poke around there for the admin rules. This is a much slicker way to look at all of them at once. Now, sad to say, they're all in different formats. For instance, let's take a look at just a few of them. Here's the first one. Title III is for the Department of Accounting and General Services. If we click on the link here, it's kind of nice because it gives you all of the different divisions. Let's say we wanted to look at Office of Elections. We click here and then scroll down here, and you see a list of the Hawaii Revised Statutes that are under their purview, as well as the administrative rules. So let's take a look at the Office of Elections. Sorry, there's a little loading icon here. Unfortunately, what you're going to run into for the administrative rules is that while it has a slick web interface to begin with, once you drill down, it's just PDFs that are just posted online. And you have to just scroll down looking for the one that you want. Here we're finding a lot of stuff that's repealed. Wow, where is this stuff? Here we go. So, once you get down to the rules, there's a couple of things to notice. First of all, Hawaii Administrative Rules have 3 part numbers. When we looked at a little bit at statutes earlier, they had 2 part numbers, a chapter like 321 and a section within that chapter like -1. The administrative rules have 3 numbers. Here it's 3-171-1. That's one easy way to spot the difference between statutes and Hawaii Administrative Rules, right from the get-go. Once you scroll down, you'll also see some gobbledygook language at the bottom. The stuff that's here in brackets. Let's take a look at 371-1, Chief Election Officer initiates. The rule is here. When upon the Chief Election Officer's own motion, the Chief Election Officer proposes to adopt, amend, or repeal a rule for the state, combined state and county, or county elections, a notice of proposed rulemaking shall be published as required by law. In the brackets, the EFF stands for the effective date. This is the date that this rule became effective. Here it's January 9th, 2010. Then you've got 2 links here. One is the auth section and one is the IMP section. They do different things. They tell you different things. Auth means the section of HRS that authorizes the department to adopt rules. Departments can't just adopt rules. They have to be given permission by the statutes, because each administrative rule depends on the existence of a statute over it. If you ever find an administrative rule that doesn't have this language at the bottom, it means it's not a valid one because it has no statute that authorizes the department to adopt it. In this case, this rule was authorized by two statutes, sections, and the double section sign here means sections, 11-4 and 91-6. Moving on, we see something that says IMP. IMP stands for implemented, and it tells you what sections of the HRS are being implemented in this section. In this case, it's HRS sections 11-4, 91-3, and 92-41. Sometimes these numbers are the same because sometimes you have a very simple statute that authorizes the department to adopt rules on the topic of X. In that case, you'd have the auth and the IMP sections that were the same. However, it's much more common that there's a section at the beginning of a department's chapter that says the department shall have the authority to adopt rules. Then, later on in the chapter, it will say rules about what? So it'll say the department shall adopt rules about financing of state parks, or about mandatory vaccines for school children, or about agricultural inspection of Kona coffee. And that would be the IMP section. It is quite possible to have more than one IMP section, like it's quite possible to have more than one auth section. You'll study this a little bit more when you get to your assignment, but I wanted you to be aware of what the IMP and auth means. It's important for understanding the rules themselves. So let's back up. We just took a look at the administrative rules for DAGs, and I wanted to show you how some of the other ones are set up. Let me just move the screen back here. Let's take a look at the Department of Health. They have some pretty neat rules. Again, we'd scroll down on the Lieutenant Governor's site and click on Department of Health. This is set up a little bit differently. Rather than make you decide which division you want and then drilling down there, it comes up with this handy chart, and it tells you what the program is, what chapter of the administrative rules deal with it, what the title is, which is helpful, the date it was last amended, and then over here on the side, it gives you the name of the person in the department who's responsible for updating the rules. This is really handy if you're trying to track down what happened to past version of the rules. For example, the rule I just showed you was effective in January 2010. Let's say your client was being accused of something that happened in 2009. That rule that we just saw isn't going to apply to him or her because it's too recent. If you wanted to get past copies of the rules, you could contact these people and they could tell you how to do that. So let's take a look at another Hawaii administrative rule. Here, let's take a look at the saltwater swimming pool rules of the State Department of Health. So all we have to do to get to the rule itself is to click on this link here, the one that says Chapter 10. Click on this, and again we're going to see a scanned-in PDF file. We're going to take a look for swimming pool rules. So we're going to scroll down. Again, you see the three-part numbering system here. This is 11-10-1. And if we take a look at here, under subchapter 1, I don't see anything about swimming pools, but if we take a look at subchapter 2, we start to see a bunch of rules about swimming pools. Let's say we wanted to look at saltwater swimming pools. There's one specific section that deals with this, 11-10-16, Public Saltwater Specialty Swimming Pools. Unfortunately, these aren't live links. I can't click there and get to it. I have to just scroll down. So I'm looking for 10-16, 10-16, 10-14, 15, and 16. Public Saltwater Specialty Swimming Pools. It starts off by talking about, oh rats. Okay, 11-10-16 Public Saltwater Specialty Swimming Pools. First it talks about the water quality. I think this is a really cool and interesting test about how you can tell if the water is clear enough. You might want to pause the video and read this section. After it describes how you can tell if the water is clear, it talks about what kind of bacterial count can be expected and the different tests that you have to use. It tells you how often you have to do the monitoring. And it tells you what happens if you fail to meet these requirements.